Hold on.
Showtime.
Before the big screen mainstream actors pay.
Well, so Doug, here's a question. How can you tell the difference between the real NFT and fake?
Welcome to the Tech School Podcast, powered by DSDT, Season 5, Episode 1, a new look, a new feeling. I'm Josh.
I'm the technical guy, Carlos.
Okay, how's it going, my good friend?
Man, I'm having a headache today.
Hey, it's all good, man.
But see, that's why it's great to be next to a professional.
Hey, well, thank you.
You know, at the end of the day, I do the best I can with the small talent that I have. I probably should take some acting classes. I'm just saying. So until I get better at this,
Brother, you're good.
you guys get what I got, right? Right.
Hey, but it's a lot of good stuff happening here. Another new season. Let's start off by explaining the new look.
So we're in the process of going through a makeover. I actually would like to change this lab into other area of the facility. And so until we make that happen, we're just going to be playing around with moving different objects around to make it look more appeasing. So I was told by our lead instructor who came aboard a few weeks ago that this is something that we should try. So I kind of like it. You know, it gives a different feel.
Yes.
To the show.
It does.
And I don't know, moving forward, maybe we stick with it.
Okay, I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Just bear with us as we get things going. Carlos, he's working hard at it, so good things to come. We've been off the last 2 weeks before starting up Season 5. What have you been up to, Carlos? Bring us up to speed.
Let's talk about my generators.
Okay. The severe weather that came through Metro Detroit last week. More than 200,000 people were without power. You were one of those DTE customers who lost power, and you bought two generators?
Two generators. Let's think about that now again. I was one of those unlucky 200,000 that were without power.
Correct.
Man, so in my adult age, I've never had to go without power.
Okay.
Well, that's tongue in cheek. Because I remember, I think it was 2003 when we had the East Coast blackout.
Yes.
2003 August, I think.
When you went in the fridge and freezer and cooked up all of our meat.
Everything. And the lines to the gas store was literally 4 miles.
Yes.
Right. But I mean, I've always had electrical. And so the last week, it was Monday through Thursday. The power was off.
4 days.
4 days. And I was crazy.
Even as much of a pain as it was, and we know it's a pain to be without power for a long period of time, this time around, thank goodness, it wasn't as hot in our area.
Maybe not in your house, but I'm just
Okay,
saying.
fair enough. I just recall last year, and it, again, is not validating or taking away from the headache at all. I just recall last year when we had power outages, or the year before last, either last year or the year before last, where you had outages and we were going through an extreme heat period.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my goodness, no electricity, very hot temperatures. Wow.
But you know, Josh, think about this. Now, we have DTE, Detroit Edison.
Yes.
And what I don't understand, the company gets pushed to the limit. Their resources, their infrastructure gets pushed to the limit because not just a few days before that, they were saying that they wanted to hike prices.
Very true.
You know,
Yes.
they said that they were petitioning, I think, the state in order that they would be able to put a 10% increase on residents' usage. But then all of a sudden, for days, thousands, hundreds of thousands of us could not have access to the resource that they want to hike prices on. So how does that work?
There have been questions about the grid. Is it outdated? What's going on?
Okay.
Because we seem to get jabbed one too many times when it comes to severe weather in our area, and bam, folks are without power for several days.
Yeah, yeah.
To where you're going to buy 2 generators.
Two generators. Just saying.
Because we can understand people don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
You have the means to get a generator or 2.
Yeah,
for it.
but think of, okay, so the means. One, it took me 2 days to find a generator
I can believe that.
because everywhere they were gone.
They were sold out.
They were sold. And, you know, you call family, friends, you know, strangers, you looking for these devices. And luckily, I was able to find a pallet in Lowe's. I just want to make sure that we mention Lowe's. You know, we were able to get a couple devices there. But if not for that, I would have been like everyone else, still in the dark for a number of days. And we kept getting these text messages about the power would be on this day. No, it'll be on the next day. Literally, it turned into 2 days
In
afterwards.
terms of those notifications, hitting on the technology, because we are the Tech School podcast, hitting on the technology aspect of it, do those notifications, do they help? Do they irritate more? What do they do for the everyday Joe?
They inform. Just simply as that. They inform you. They are automatic messages that go out for various responses that they would like to automate. And, you know, they just keep you in the loop as to what's going on. And in fact, the same message that I received, I later saw a commercial using that same verbiage. You know, so
Yes.
I guess it's part of the company's digital informational system moving forward, perhaps. But at the end of the day, it definitely gives you some sort of insight as to what's going on with your service. So,
Some kind of information is better than none.
no, some sort of power is better than none. What are you
Well,
talking
that
about?
too. Definitely.
I don't need no information. Keep your information. I need power.
Okay, well, what else have you been up to, my friend? You went to Philadelphia, right?
I went to Philadelphia.
Okay.
I went to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Where do we even get these names from for these cities? I mean, maybe it was the city of brotherly love back in the 1700s, but I can guarantee you now, Philly,
Guarantee.
we got to do better. We got to do
You don't
better.
like Philadelphia?
I'm not saying I don't like Philadelphia. I'm
Okay.
going to say that it wasn't the most warm as far as the people.
Okay.
You know.
I enjoyed Philadelphia, but I can understand.
Right.
It's a strong personality kind of city.
Yes. I agree 1,010%.
Where'd you go for a cheesesteak?
Gino's.
I went to D'Alessandro.
Gino's. I absolutely loved Gino's. I mean, it was an experience. You know, I had everyone telling me, "Oh, you got to go for a cheesesteak."
You must.
Cheesesteak. You got to go for it. I'm not the real tourist guy.
It's not that okay. In this aspect of getting a cheesesteak from while you're in Philadelphia, it's not really touristy. It's not that you're being a tourist. It's just you kind of have to do it.
No, you don't
You
have to
kind
do
of
it.
have to do it. Well, do you really consider the food a city is known for to being part of your tourism?
Yeah,
You
I
do?
do. Don't have to do it. I'm saying I don't have to do it. When you come to Detroit, you don't have to go to Belle Isle. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you kind of have to get a
I'm just
coney.
saying.
You have to get a coney. You have to try Mediterranean food. You have to
Wait, hold, what? In Detroit?
Metro Detroit, Dearborn, whatever. However,
You have to try Mediterranean.
Mediterranean food. Yes, you do.
No.
We have. I mean,
I've been here 30 plus years and I haven't tried it yet. I'm just saying.
Okay, well maybe you don't eat Mediterranean food.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
But if you want Mediterranean food, you have to get it from Detroit
Okay.
while you're here. It's
Okay.
just one of those things.
All right.
It's like you go down to Miami, you have Cuban coffee.
What?
Yes.
I have gone to Miami a million times and I've never had Cuban coffee.
You never had Cuban coffee.
Never.
It's like
I never had a cigar.
It's like a little.
I never had. I'm sorry. Didn't I just tell you I'm not the tourist guy?
Man, I'm gonna need you to live a little bit. Well, I bring up Philadelphia because we're playing the Detroit Lions. We're playing the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming Sunday for our home opener, season opener at Ford Field. New season, new hope.
Hold on. When is it?
This Sunday,
This
September
Sunday.
11th.
September 11th.
Home game, season opener, Ford Field. Detroit Lions
Okay.
play the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay,
The
hold on.
city you just paid a visit
Let
to.
me check my schedule. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Check my schedule. Oh yeah, I'm free that day.
You free that
I'm
day?
free that day.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What?
I got 2 generators. I'm just saying. I'm
I'm gonna sit back on my couch
No.
and watch the game.
gonna take my generators with my flat
Oh,
screen
tailgate.
and tailgate.
Tailgate.
That's what we gonna do.
Yes. Where are you going to tailgate?
Eastern Market.
Great location.
Eastern Market. Burt's,
Great
get ready.
location.
Burt's, get ready. If you come to the city of Detroit, you have to go to Burt's. I'm
Yes,
just
you
saying.
do.
Just saying.
Get a slab of ribs.
Hey, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
International. Burt's. Since how long has he been over there?
Oh, Burst. I mean, he grew up in Black Bottom, so
Like
Burst.
30s, 40s?
Burt Deering, he goes back generations.
Yeah.
in Detroit.
Yeah. Definitely. You have to be there. You have to be here to check him out.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. Okay, so let's get on with this episode as far as a bit of news
Yeah. Yeah.
is happening in the tech world. Let's start with technology.
Okay, so
Let's
first,
start with
but first,
social media. I should say.
absolutely. Before we do all that, why don't we bring in our guest first, and everyone will know him from previous episodes. So why don't I just start doing it like this?
Kevon, how's it going, good brother?
How's it going?
It's going well. Good to see you. Good to have you
Good to
back.
see you. Awesome. Great to be back.
Can you give those that are watching this show a little bit about your background and the reason you have this expertise to have this conversation with us today?
I'm just addicted to knowledge, man. I really, my background, I'm in tech, I'm a developer, so developing Web 2 and Web 3 space currently. Constantly learning, constantly growing from there. That's what makes me pretty much an expert.
So, and you are an instructor for?
Oh yeah, instructor for DSDT, sorry. I'm an instructor for Detroit School for Digital Technology. I am actually the lead mobile iOS instructor at the school, and specialize in teaching teaching students how to code using Java, JavaScript, Swift, and React.
Great. So, can you inform and educate us about what's happening right now with this fine that Meta, Instagram, that they've been hit with?
400 million.
I mean, honestly, it's like the cost of doing business at this point. Like when you look at that fine, they got hit with what, $400 million for mishandling teams' data, according to a statute that they placed in Ireland or over their Europe period about privacy acts. But if you look at it, it's really just like the cost of doing business. Like when you consider when the fine happened, it happened in 2018. Facebook overall profited $29.1 billion in 2020. So when you look at their profits continuously year over year, and then you look at that fine, that's like 0.09% of 1 year profit. So that fine isn't really that big of a number as it's led to believe.
You're making it sound like, Kevon, as if Instagram, Meta, is simply paying its bills.
Basically, yeah, the cost of doing business at this point, because everyone wants to. This is the thing, right? Everybody wants to gatekeep data because these companies in these countries and stuff like that. These countries overall are making a ton of money off of your data being a consumer. That's the reason why they have you do like consensus forms and they have you do all these different things to collect your information. So they get envious when other people are monetizing it in a better way than what they currently are, but they can't because they're operating within the rules of the government or rules of the law. So they try to create laws to limit the profitability of these companies. But a lot of times, these companies nowadays are just pricing this stuff in. Like I
So
wouldn't like if I made $29 billion. If I made $29 billion in profits, that's pure profits in 1 year of work. And then someone told me I had to pay a $400 million fine because I misused some data. That's just the cost of business at that point. At that point, then you're strategically allocating those funds. Like, all right, this percentage might go towards a possible fine we might get in these countries, bearing the fact that they do this, and then we might just settle for this amount. Because if you look at it, the original fine I think was like 2 point something billion dollars, which would have still only been like 10%. It's like that's nothing.
so explain to me this theory that you have called cost of doing business. What does that mean?
I mean, when you're operating a company that's driven behind, when you're operating a company that's strategically driven behind collecting data and monopolizing that data, and some people like the congressmen and the congresswomen and stuff like that, people in Congress, they like to say they're weaponizing data because they're exploiting data that other people don't really have access to. Just because I know how to use the data better than you, and you want to find me for it, I mean, that's cool. But it's the cost of, like I said, it's the cost of doing business though, because if you're making so much money off the data, you understand that certain countries and certain places have stipulations in set that says that you can only do this, you can only do that. So if you operate outside of that parameters, then you know a fine is coming.
I'm curious, Kevon, how does Meta profit off data?
They create a perfect profile of you, and they're using that profile to be able to say, well, this is the way any company, it's not just Meta, every company profits off data. It's not a company in the world that does not profit off data.
Okay.
Like, there's some out here that say they don't, but strategically they do. Why? Because they're the ones that say they don't, they use their data to curate certain ads or curate certain visual experiences for their users, because as a user, you're like, all right, cool, this user's coming on board. This user strategically goes to these several websites using cookies. You're able to look at person cookies and see where they're going, and that's why most people don't read the terms and conditions either. But every company pretty much monetizes off data, though. It's not really many companies that don't.
So would you say that possibly just the data itself is worth billions, if not trillions of dollars?
Yeah, data is worth too much. It's worth crazy amount of money. And the thing is, like I said, the average person, like an average Joe, does not know how to utilize their data to monetize it. Like most people don't have a platform. Most people don't have something that they're selling. Most people don't have even a podcast or anything like that, where they're able to say, hey, I'm able to utilize the data behind viewers, what region they're in, what demographic I have, what the average age, the average income based off of that. You could take all of this data and curate it specifically. So now when you go and you're trying to run ads, you're trying to get type of brand partnerships, you're looking for advertisement, you're able to go to them and say 93% of my viewers or 93% of my users, they're between this age, they're doing this, they work in this demographic, they have this income based off of the area they live in. You're able to generalize what kind of income they have coming in. And the more you're able to build a complete profile of what a person is or what they do, the more money you'll make.
Wow. You kind of hint at what I was saying in my experiences in going into the metaverse, right? I remember some of the first experiences were with young people that were in there. And the young people would just be interacting with adults, and adults at times would even treat them as though they were adults. And I thought to myself in those instances, like, wow, there really aren't any safeguards in here for these young people.
The thing that is standing out to me about this article is the headline: over handling teens' data. What does this fine? What does it mean by over handling teens' data? What are they exactly being fined for? Even though it's the cost of doing business, what does that mean? What exactly did Meta do?
So from what I saw, from what I know about the situation, the investigation lasted a total of 2 years, and they were looking into business accounts. So Instagram's business accounts, they gave users more advanced metrics for tracking views and likes, but before 2019, they were prone to publishing users' phone numbers and email addresses under default settings. So Instagram's minimum age for users is 20, what is it, 13? I think 13 years old. But Instagram's users, what happened? They were able to change, I believe like people around the age of 18 or under the age of 18 were allowed to change their personal accounts into business accounts. And I believe that's what caused the problem with the EU and Ireland and sorts. So they have their own governance. They have their own like things that they have to follow as far as like data and technology is concerned. So I believe the issue came from them allowing people under the age of 18 to convert their personal profiles into a business profile, and then that in return gave them more analytics into what they were currently doing. Because you got to think, right? We live in the age of TikTok, right? And nowadays everyone's making money off of social media. So you got some kids as young as 8, 9 years old, like they're just making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of just social media alone.
Yeah, yeah, and that's my point. So whenever I'm in the metaverse, they're 5 and 6 years old, and it's like, you know, if you're in there for some nefarious reasons, then you have access to children that you ought not to have. And I think that that's what the laws are coming out of the EU are trying to protect children in that way. You know, so that, you know, it's not just about data, but it's just children, period. You know, it's not just about their name, their phone number, their social security number.
Access.
It's access.
But I mean, if you think about it though, people have had access to kids for years. Like look at video games. Like when you go on a video game console, you go on a PlayStation, you go on an Xbox, you go on a PC, you're able to play online with anybody. There's no governance behind what age a person can play. Like I've played Call of Duty and been online, and I've been sitting there like, it's a kid, and I hear their voice, and I'm like, man, let me get on somewhere where there's some adults at, you know, some older people that, because like you can clearly tell this is a 8, 9, 10-year-old kid that's just good at Call of Duty, and they're just saying whatever the heck comes to their mind.
But as we know, Kevon, not everyone has the character as you are describing, where you realize there's a kid on the other end. As an adult, you have the mindset to get away from that because you're not interacting with children. You're an adult. You're going to interact with adults. The world we live in, we know that's not the case.
That's true. That's true.
And so when you think about the metaverse, I don't know, Carlos, you have more experience with this than I do. It just seems like the metaverse is just even more intimate.
It is. And I think the best word you used was accessible. You know, it grants individuals, businesses, brands, however you want to look at it, just gives them more instantaneous access than any other time in our history. You know, I mean, think about it. You just literally have a kid that can put a device on their head. You don't know what they're watching, what they're listening to. And all of a sudden you have these outside individuals that are able to get in there and I use this word, but manipulate them. You know, because we already know that that's what happens. It happens to us as adults. How many times are we having a conversation and I'm sitting here and I'm talking about buying this new generator, and the next thing you know, on my cell phone, on my computer, my Alexa screen, everything is about generators. So if it's not about manipulation and accessibility 101, we are living byproducts of that. Then how much more are our children having that same effect, right?
I mean, you can limit that though. You can limit that to most people don't do it, but when you first log into a platform or into a software or a website or whatever, you're able to dictate how they use your data. You're able to say, you're not able to dictate that much, but you're able to dictate as far as giving it access to your microphone, giving it access to stuff like that. Most people just blindly accept everything and don't really read through it. So a lot of these companies, they have access to your microphone, they have access to your pretty much everything. You don't even you'll be surprised, man. You read through the terms and conditions, the amount of access you get them the moment you sign up. But you can take certain things away. Most people don't. They just let it go on. So therefore, you'll see things like you talking about food, and the next thing you know, your ads are curated towards food because you gave this platform access to your microphones.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so give us a little information, if you would, please, about this fake scam hyping that they've done with the Solana platform.
I'm actually a fan.
You are, excuse me?
I'm actually a fan of what he did.
Oh my goodness.
Well, break it down. Well, first of all, it sounds like we have a little debate here. Before we get to that, Kevon, break down what's happening here. What's going on here? And
Yeah,
then get
basically,
into why you like this.
I mean, I'm all for exploitation to make a dollar. Like, man, it's all about that's what it's for, man. If it's there, you exploit it, and they fix it later. Basically, all he did was exploit a flaw inside of the protocol of Solana, where he was able to manipulate. He was able to create a protocol off of the Solana blockchain, which enabled him to double the TVL of the Solana, which caused when people saw the TVL rise, people saw that as an investment opportunity to buy in. Now, the thing is, they say it was a team of people when it was really one person disguised as 11 people. The dude was just like a very, very intelligent developer of sorts, and he was able to manipulate things by acting like a team of 11. And then he was able to build out a protocol and then basically maximize the TVL. And he would build protocols. He would stack them on top of each other to where $1 would be counted several times. And then he was able to manipulate everything for him to make billions of dollars off of it. I think at one point they owned like 7.5 billion of the 10 billion TVL of the company, of the Solana company, actually.
All right, Carlos, how come you are not the biggest fan?
It's not that I'm not the biggest fan. I didn't say that, right? What I think it does is give more relevance to the fact that all this can be manipulated. You know, I think that so many individuals are investing and they think that, you know, this is going to be their little nest egg for the next however long. But they don't understand how volatile it is, one, and two, how subjective it is. You know, digital marketing. So I remember the days when you could go on a Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it, and you had access organically to almost everyone that followed you. That doesn't happen anymore. Why? They say algorithms. Okay, so you don't have access. But what you can do now is, if I really wanted to manipulate you to think that I was the man or that my account was popping like that,
Right.
I could easily buy it. Right? I don't have to put in the work to build that account. I can make you perceive me as being something more than what I am. I don't understand those that go on to some of these gambling sites, these digital gambling sites, and they think that, you know, they sit in these rooms and everyone in the room at the end of that avatar is another human being. Not necessarily the case. Not to me, not ever the case. You know, and I just happen to believe that this is another instance of individuals being smarter than everyone else, and them being able to manipulate the emotions of everyone else when it comes to the dollar. I'm just saying. Kevon, why are you such a fan of what they did?
Because, I mean, he did nothing different than what we see in everyday business, man. You look at all the different markets. All the markets are manipulated in a sense. But it's the fact that he manipulated the crypto market that the government wants to strategically place their grasp on and place laws on, that they're mad about it. But it's like, it's no different than the real estate market. Why are private entities buying up all of the real estate in California and Florida? Like, why are they controlling the market that way, manipulating it and buying it under different LLCs and making it seem like it's multiple LLCs buying all these different properties, when it's really one entity that broke up into 100 different LLCs inside of one state, and they're buying 100 properties with one property per LLC, and then one person actually controls all of them. I mean, it's no different. So I'm a fan of it. Honestly, you figure out a way to manipulate the crypto market. Congratulations.
I'm just saying. Okay.
Congratulations.
Okay. So,
Congratulations.
are you not one of those guys that would in your past life you would have been like the world's #1 hacker, would you?
Nah.
Hold on.
All right, I think we can leave this topic alone. We got two sides of the puzzle, so okay, two sides of the conversation, I should say.
All right, so here's one for
Tiffany
me.
Haddish.
Right.
Yes.
So, and I know
What is going on here?
this is now. I'm sorry, y'all, because sometimes you might not know, but in the wee hours of the morning, I watch some of this stuff and I listen to a lot of TMZ, and I don't know, it's just interesting, or maybe it's just the gossip effect. But I was asking Josh when we came in today, had he heard about what's going on? He says, "No, I haven't."
No.
How do you not hear about this? And you do television every morning. What's going on?
We did not have one mention of this.
I'm not going to touch
And
that.
I'm coming off a busy family weekend. I didn't do
Okay.
anything for Labor Day.
Okay, well, understandable.
I didn't do anything.
Tiffany, Kevin, I don't know if you are as aware of what's been going on the last few days with her and Ari Spears. So the story, as I understand it, I'm not, your New York gossiper, but the story is that 10 years ago, there were these children that they shot a skit with. Now, I've seen parts of the skit, right? And the skit was about pedophilia. And it was supposedly, I don't know if it was really a comedy skit or if it was a PSA, as some are trying to call it now, right? But so they had a 14-year-old girl who Tiffany supposedly met at some camp. She said that the girl would be great for these skits. She brought her in, and after they shot one, she then said that her little brother would be great for a skit that they wanted to do. And so she brought the brother and the sister in. Now, this is where it starts getting crazy to me, because as I understand it, the mother dropped the 14-year-old and the 7-year-old off at this shoot. And the 14-year-old was supposed to watch the 7-year-old. First, I don't know. My kids, my kid was 17 years old and I was still walking her back and forth to the bus stop. I'm just saying. But anyway, so they dropped the kids off at this shoot, and it was a shoot about Tiffany leaving her children with an uncle who was a pedophile. Knowingly a pet. Well, she didn't know he was a pedophile. She just was leaving her kids, like so many times we in our communities.
Well, she left the kids with her uncle.
Her uncle, who was being played by Ari Spears. Well, Ari Spears was playing this uncle. All right, so she leaves the kids with him, and while the kids are there, some real abnormal behavior took place. And so there was parts
Being
where,
led by the uncle.
yeah, so there was parts where the little boy was sitting in his underwear on the floor playing with a little toy, and the uncle's sitting on a sofa. He has a magazine where he has 2 holes cut in the magazine, and he's looking through it at the little boy. And just it was supposed to be comedy, I think, but it just came across as being distasteful, as it came across as very creepy, but I don't know. To me, and Josh, I always tell the truth, man. I tell the truth. Y'all know I do. It didn't strike me outside of what today's level of comedy is. It really didn't. Now, I know that the topic is sensitive. It's pedophilia. And the fact that they were doing it, then it was a little callous and careless at the same time. But I've seen things recently that made me say, damn, and this wasn't one of them.
Okay. Not in good taste, but not the worst.
It was absolutely not the worst, right? And I'll tell you why it wasn't the worst to me, because I grew up in the days of Different Stroke. I grew up in the days of Facts of Life and all these shows with children in it that later on went on to say, this is what happened on set. You know, Full House, this is what happened on set, right? And so what they were doing, this suit is saying that they're trying to make them out to be criminals. And I don't believe that at all, you know, because they just don't seem like the individuals that, you know, would be partaking in this type of behavior. They're not the Epsteins. They are absolutely not.
We're
you
not
know,
talking about sex trafficking.
we're not talking about sex traffickers. We're talking about, to me, in my mind, it's another scenario where you have the rap artist in his art. He makes a song, and now the DA wants to use the song against him to say, look at him. He's a dope dealer. He does this, that, and the third. But in actuality, he's a 4.0 grade student on his way to college, and he's just writing about something he don't know nothing about. It's an art. They were literally on a set shooting a skit. And now, as distasteful as it may have been, it's not as if they were picking up little 14 and 7-year-old kids and saying, come, let me touch, do this, that, and the third. They weren't doing that. At least that's not the information that we've gotten at this point. Right? So, but again, I truly believe that it should not have risen, or it shouldn't rise to the level of being equated to criminal activity. I mean, you see on your screen right now where they're calling for the DA to arrest him. Come on now, that's unnecessary.
And again, as far as the information that's been released at this time, there's nothing that alleges to physical.
Well, the allegations are that, you know, what happened in the skit.
In the skit.
You know, so in the skit,
The creepy.
yeah, uncle,
skit,
creepy uncle,
the creepy uncle looking at the boy.
Looking at the boy
through two holes in
in news magazine.
Very creepy.
Creepy.
Very
Put
distasteful.
oil. The little boy that was a part in the skit where Tiffany leaves him in a bathtub and asks the uncle to watch him. And when she leaves, he gets in the bathtub with the little boy, you know, and pull the boy up close to him. Again, creepy. It's a skit. I don't know about you guys, but I can remember David Chappelle and some of the raunchy things that he did in his skits. I'm just saying.
But David
Right?
Chappelle never involved children.
Never involved. Well,
I don't recall Dave Chappelle touching anything.
wasn't no, not pedophilia, right?
But definitely topics where it's like,
Where little kids were in the classroom when Bush, you know, got news of 9/11. And he had little kids, and Bush was in the room, and he was reading the book to them, and you know, there were always some version of children in there. It may not have been pedophilia, but children have been used historically in Hollywood for whatever the topic was. Let's talk about Woody Allen. Let's talk about Woody Allen, the director who married his own daughter, right? Let's talk about, you know, Todd Bridges, what he said happened to him by his publicist when he was working on Different Strokes. You know, so this isn't something that's new. I think we're trying to take these individuals, and for all intents and purposes, this was done 10 years ago. Tiffany wasn't the Tiffany we know her to be today. And I truly do not believe that this was done with criminal intent. I'm just saying.
I agree. I mean, when you look at today's society, society is so soft these days. I mean, are we going after, what's his name, Mike Henry? Most people don't even know who Mike Henry is. Mike Henry is the infamous voice actor for Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy. Like, are they going after him for voicing acts of, you know, pedophilia and get kids out of a cartoon? I mean, it's the same thing. It's all a skit.
Yeah, I agree 100%, my friend. 100%. So those are our in the news topics this week. In the news. Kevin, we want to definitely thank you for joining us. I know that it was like the last moment for you, but we want to always bring you back to give us some insight about what's happening around the metaverse, the crypto world, everything that you so are in tune with. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Listen, man, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for having me on. Anytime. You know, I'm always going to call it.
Absolutely.
yes, sir. Good stuff right there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we don't even want to do a break today. We're just going to keep it rolling.
Keep it going?
We're going to
Okay,
keep it
keep it
rolling.
going.
We actually have a young man that I would love to have him come on. He's actually one of the students that we have here, and his name is Mr. Thomas Ruffin Chambers. So when I was in the process and I was looking for a student to actually come on today, we always want to give them some opportunities to have a word about their experience at DSDT. I was told that you need to call Mr. Ruffin. Why? Because he recently got placed and he took a number of the programs here. So we want to bring him on and have a conversation with him, definitely. All right, so without another moment, Mr. Ruffin. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing well, Tom. It's good to have you on. Thank you for being patient with us today.
You are welcome. Congrats on season 5.
Indeed.
So I want to start off by first saying again, where are you from?
Mississippi.
He's from Mississippi.
We're in Mississippi.
You wouldn't know the town, but I'm in south east of Jackson.
Okay, I have to ask somewhat of a bonehead question. You're not anywhere near where P Valley is plotted, are you? Okay.
No.
Wait a minute, hold on. You say no. Where is P Valley?
It's in Mississippi. It's a show on Stars. I'm not going to say what P Valley fully stands for.
I know what P Valley is, Josh.
No, we're not doing that. I'm
But-
just curious.
Is it really a city where that show is filmed at? It is? I didn't know that.
It's like Chuckalooka. Got it.
That's a real city? Wow. I just learned something.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll leave it there. Let's get back to you, your experience here at DSDT. Give us that background, Thomas. How did you connect with DSDT? And let's get into some of the programs you studied.
So I got back from a deployment back in 2021. I connected with ERA during the Yellow Ribbon event, and when being on TV or being on the podcast is not good for me.
Oh, you're doing well. Just let us know what's going on.
So I started taking classes with ERA. I started with Total Cyber Solutions, and when I wanted more classes, they were like, well, we have this other company that we work with. So I got on and I took the Tech 2 and Tech 9 classes. And I learned a good bit from both those classes, and it was a real good time.
You've been placed. What has life been like following your graduation from DSDT? What are you up to these days?
Right now, I work with ERA Solutions as their junior cybersecurity analyst, as well as kind of straddling the transition advisor role with them. Basically, what they do is they're a small business. I can't talk now. Small business, veteran-owned company that helps transition service members. Like, we mainly focus on the Army and the Air Force, getting them into IT and tech career. So it's really we just try to get people that are, close to their service end dates and try to get them into the field.
Good deal. How many programs exactly did you study at DSDT?
I started 2, Tech 2 and Tech 6, not 9.
Tech 2 and Tech 6. Got it.
Yeah.
Did you come to the programs already with knowledge, or?
So the class I took with Total Cyber Solutions was the Security Plus program. And it was their program to get you to where you could pass the CompTIA Security Plus exam. So I took that one again with DSDT, as well as the other classes that were within the Tech 2 and Tech 6 class.
So the hope was in taking the program that you actually would get the certification to do the position that you have now?
Yes. With the Tech 2 and Tech 6, you have like 3 kind of like subjects you teach or learn. It's like A plus, Security plus, and a few other ones. Those are the only two I can remember off the top of my head. But those were the main ones that you studied so that when you took the CompTIA exam, it wasn't as bad.
So have you actually tested thus far?
I have taken the Security Plus exam because that one's the one that's more needed for my job.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't pass. Yeah, it's. Ugh.
So how many points do you need in order to pass?
You need 750.
And you got what?
I got 706.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I was right at the cusp.
Wow. So what's the plan? Do you plan to take it again?
Oh yeah, I plan on taking it again as soon as I can.
So when did you take it?
I took it back in June,
Took it.
but
Do you have to wait a full year or what?
No.
Oh,
no, for the first 3 attempts, you do not have to, but after that third attempt, you have to wait, I think, 2 weeks. No, you have to
Oh.
wait 14 calendar days. So yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I've been just studying, and because the National Guard decided they wanted me to go on a training exercise in July, I kind of put a kink in the mix.
Okay. All right.
Just give us your perspective, Thomas, on studying with DSDT online. Based here in Michigan, the school is. You're down in Mississippi. Just talk about your interaction with your instructors, administrators, just that overall experience studying online.
It was good. That was one of the first times I studied online. I did like how, so because of the time differences, me being an hour behind, classes would start like 30 minutes, no, an hour before me. So I told my instructors every time, because I get back from work and it would be 4 my time, but it would be like almost 30 minutes to an hour and a half into class time. And they just said, okay, well, that's fine. I did like how you could kind of pick the schedules. For anybody listening, the schedules are like morning, noon, and I think night. But whenever I took it, it was morning and night, morning and noon. Yeah. The class that I took was the afternoon class, which was like from 3:30 until 8 or 9. And because I'm an hour behind, they would start at 3 my time. So it takes me 30 minutes to get home from where I used to work at. And it's like, well, you kind of got to give me a little slack. And they always did.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. So if you had someone that was considering taking a class at DSDT, what would be your advice to them?
I would say also get outside material. The classes do offer a lot and help, but it never hurts to have extra knowledge. You do gain a lot from the courses and the quizzes, but the way the questions are worded on the CompTIA exams is a lot trickier than what you ever see. I mean, it's almost like an SAT. And also, if you do eventually like pick like say the Security Plus exam to go for, get a second voucher. Now, I'm going to burst everybody's bubbles because the Security Plus exam costs about $385 to take.
How much again?
$385.
Oh, a nice little bit of change right there. A few bones. A few bones.
Yes. That is once. That does not guarantee you a pass or fail. It is just for you to take the exam. So when you do take it, you need to get the voucher. Now that's double the price, but you get a retry for free.
So
So
basically,
even
you
if
get 3 vouchers for the price
yeah,
of 2.
yeah,
Also,
you'll
though,
be
if so when you get these vouchers for the exam, do you come out of pocket with them, or are you being reimbursed for them, or how does that work?
so with DSDT, it's a vet tech program. Basically, that's tuition assistance. So during the classes, you will get basically a tuition paycheck. During my first tech, before when my brain's starting to go 20 miles an hour. During the Tech 6 class, there we go. I got like a $900 paycheck towards the tail end of that. Use a part of that to at least get one of the vouchers. That way you have it in reserve. So like, oh, okay, well, I really liked the A plus stuff. So I'll take that one and really look into that one and really zone in on all the material for that to be able to take it and to pass it.
Okay.
Good deal, Thomas. Well, my friend, we thank you for your time. Thank you for being patient with us. Wish you the best. Definitely invite you to come back on.
Oh yeah, I definitely love to talk to.
Absolutely.
But man, I
Thomas
got some beef with
Ruffin.
you.
Say again?
But man, I got some beef with you. How can you go to Philadelphia and not get what they're famous for?
I mean,
That's like going down to Mississippi and not getting crawfish or any seafood.
you have
Crawfish in Mississippi, if you don't cut it out.
you have to enjoy the food. Not saying you have to go to sites, but at least the food.
Crawfish in Mississippi.
I mean, you have to eat.
You gotta go to the-
Carlos.
you gotta go
So
to
when
the
you go to a
coast.
city, what do you know
That's like
for?
going. That's
Hey,
like going to
listen.
Chicago and not getting a deep dish.
Bingo.
Well, I have yet to have a deep dish, and I've been in Chicago at least 4 times in the last 2 months.
Thomas, I don't know who we're talking to.
I'm just saying, I told you guys I'm not the tourist.
That's
I'm not
not
the
Why do you
tourist.
go
Tourist.
somewhere?
Thomas, you
You have
used
to
to,
eat.
Thomas, you used to be my best friend, but now,
You have to eat.
listen,
So what are you going to do? Just get a standard what? Salad?
maybe,
Well, look, when you go to
maybe.
Mississippi, when you come down to Mississippi, go to a restaurant called Mugshots. They make they make gourmet burgers. It's about 2 inches thick and about 7 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay about $20 a burger,
Okay.
but it's great.
Wow.
That sounds good.
Sounds like something we're going to have Josh come down to try. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, guys.
All right. Thomas Ruffin Chambers down in Mississippi.
Yeah. Again, we're going to have Josh go down and check out some of the crawfish.
I don't know about crawfish. He got me on the burger.
He said,
though.
I don't know about crawfish. Yeah.
Louisiana, I think you can get me. Mississippi, I haven't heard. I'll try the burger.
Listen, I'm down in Mississippi, and when I'm in Mississippi, the last thing I want is crawfish. I can tell you, I would like some hog maws, and some collard greens, some pinto beans. I'm just telling you what I eat when I come to Mississippi.
Okay, now we're talking.
I'm just saying, you don't get a lot of that here in Detroit, or if you go to Chicago or Philadelphia. I'm just saying.
Therefore, when you go to Philadelphia, you try the cheesesteak. When you go to Chicago, you try the deep dish.
Now I was looking for somebody that actually made chitlins. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. When I go to Philly, I'm looking for somebody that cooks soul food. That's me, Josh. It doesn't have to be you.
Soul food, yes. Chitlins?
It's that soul food. That is soul food, Josh. And with that note,
Yeah, we're not eating any chitlins, man.
we're working on that.
Oh, how do you clean?
We don't even,
We won't even go there. We'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
We'll leave it alone.
yeah.
Well, Carlos, my good friend, I love the new look. Great things to come. Season 5 underway. Episode 1 here, right now in the books. More to come.
Absolutely. Maybe we ought to have somebody bring some hog mogs or some chitlins in.
How about a cheesesteak? How about some Mediterranean food?
I like
How
it.
about a deep dish?
How about it? We
Okay,
will. We will.
All right. I think we're talking.
Yeah.
Omit the chitlins.
No. We gotta have some chitlins. Or how about a pig ear sandwich?
You can have it in your corner.
Just saying, man. Just saying.
We'll compromise. Well, we are back next week. Full effect.
Yes, sir.
All right. In the meantime, Carlos, Josh, that will do it for the Tech School podcast powered by DSDT. See ya.